Oh, this is backwards.
Haven't got the logo on there.
Why do I feel so far away from it?
Don't know.
Neither do I.
Maybe it's a bit more this side. I think it is. Does that feel better?
Not really. Why's it on that one? You fucking with the settings?
Maybe because I had a basketball last week.
Yeah, makes more sense. Why you would have it on that? Ah, there we go. That's a lot better.
Okay. Next, got to stop. Don't know. There it is.
I reckon we're going to do like our best bets, and in the TikTok have like a screenshot of the bet slip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then it can explain it better and have the.
And people like seeing those visuals as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we've been streaming for a minute. That's good to see.
Can you just double check that is recording? This one is.
Yeah. I'm easy to get out of here.
That look alright?
Normally? Yeah, perfect. Alright.
Perfect. Perfect.
Perfect. You can hear everything? I can hear that. We don't need that open, do we? Because that's going good. Alright. That's it. Mute. That's what we need. Alright, let's do it. Okay. 3, 2, 1. You should do the clap after the one. Anyway. G'day and welcome back to the Wing It Podcast. We've got another Brownlow special. It's our favourite, it's probably one of our favourite nights of the year. I'm going to take that back because I reckon we said that about 7 different things in the podcast, haven't we? This is my favourite thing, my most favourite.
Favourite night of the year, I think that's a really good call.
Okay.
Super Bowl day is probably one of my favourite days of the year.
Yeah.
But yeah, something about Brownlow night, it just excites me more than most things, especially about the AFL.
We just throw out favourite very loosely in this podcast.
Yeah,
but
we
we won't be throwing out many favourites today because we've got roughies galore. How about that for a segue? That was very good by me.
We're digging deep, finding the diamonds in the rough.
100%. Well, we are the self-proclaimed best Brownlow podcast betting-wise in the world.
Well, profit-wise, unit profit-wise, we
81 units.
Skyrocketed last year.
100% plus 81 units minimum when we picked Ollie Wines at $81 last year.
We may give out some shocking calls throughout the year, like when I called Jack Steele and then he got injured the next week.
Or Callum Mills.
Yeah, we called Callum Mills who just stunk it up, or you called Bailey Smith and then got done for drug charges the next week. So,
very true. But
allegedly, so a bit in that.
Let's get into this year. So we're going to get into our best bets straight off the bat. We've got about 4 we absolutely love. We've got some value because it's hard to pick a winner this year. So we'll get into the winner and who we think comes top 4 later in the podcast. But we're going to kick it straight off with our favourite bets. All right, number 1. Should we go with the Hawthorn man?
We will.
I think it is because we've been studying all morning, all week, all year. This one This is the one, the creme de la creme.
There's just something about this guy. When players have a certain mystique about them in the Brownlow, or they have a certain presence to them, like a former Brownlow winner like this guy, you just have to bet on them against other players.
100%. And when there's odds on value on offer like there is here, we have to take it. We are calling Tom Mitchell most votes for Hawthorn at $2.70 on Sportsbet. The only bookie that he's not the favourite on. We don't understand why he's not the favourite on every bookie.
Yeah, we did a real deep dive into every game this year. They think John Newcombe is going to be taking the most votes for Hawthorn, but from what we discovered, it's absolutely nowhere near it.
We can't see it at all. We've got Titch on about 9.5 votes, and that is a conservative 9.5.
Very conservative.
We think he probably ends on 11, but we're going to call him 9.5 for argument's sake. But that's still going to be enough to beat Newcombe, who we have at 6.
Yeah.
That could be as low as 4. We don't see it going anywhere past 7 or 8.
And one of the danger men we've got at the moment is Gunston.
Jake Gunston, yes.
So he probably could get 9.
We think his absolute ceiling is 9.
It would be a really good effort if he got 9. But we're sort of thinking he's at that sort of 6 or 7 market
Yeah,
as
we
well.
think exactly. We do not see it. 9 is the 100% best result ever.
Yep.
He's probably around like 7 to 8, 100%. So that gives us a nice 1 to 2 vote swing with Titch, and we think it goes higher than that anyway.
Yep.
So we're going to take Titch. I mean, last year he was paying $41 to win the medal, and he had 25 votes.
Huge.
So no one's giving him any respect, but he always gets respect by the most important people, and that's the umpires.
He gets plenty of the appeal, and I think for Hawthorn, he's going to get the most votes.
100%. All right, from one topping team votes to another,
Yep.
let's go with the Western Bulldogs. Who would have thought this back in the day? But we're going to go with Josh Dunkley
You've been
most.
loving this one.
This is my bet of the night. I mean, a year where Bontempelli was very underwhelming, still played a great role, but wasn't playing the same role that he has, where it's 30 plus touches a night.
Yep.
He was much more of a 22 touches and a goal operator,
Yep.
playing half forward, etc. Dunkley was a locked-in midfielder all day, every day. He pigged out, was one of the best fantasy players all year. We know that. And Baz was the other guy who missed half the season and then had consistency issues in the second half.
Yep.
So Dunkley at $2.30 for most for Bulldogs, it's money.
It is.
We 100%. We've got Dunkley polling 13.2 votes. That's where we see him at. And that will be enough to beat the Bulldogs, to top Bulldogs. We've got Bont at 10 to maybe 10.5.
And you can say what you like about Bont. The umpires love him. They're always giving him votes. Well, they've never given him enough votes.
No.
Well, he's never won it.
He's always falling short.
Unlike Titch, he's never been that player who's gone on to win it. So
No.
I think counting out him is really, really good value.
100%. And we've got Baz on 9.5. So we've got Bont and Baz around the 9 to 10 mark. And we've got Dunkley pushing 13s. That's a 3-vote swing. And we're happy to play that every time at $2.30.
Yeah. And once again, with Dunkley, that's quite conservative. We're not going over the top on that one. We had him at 16 votes in one of our counts.
Yeah.
So pretty big.
100%. All right, move on away from team betting. Now we're going to move on to a single game bet. Dogger, take the floor.
Yeah, this is one I penciled in just after this game happened in round 2. So have to put your memory all the way back to then. And it was St Kilda versus Fremantle. Pretty close game, Freo up most of the game. But going into the fourth quarter, Max King steps up, kicks 3 goals in the fourth quarter.
Huge.
Ended with 4 goals, was best player on the ground, won the game off his own boot. So I was going to be really intrigued to see what his odds would be to get 3 votes in this game. Mm-hmm. Being a key forward, it's always sort of against you. But when you kick 4 and win the game off your own boot, I think that's well deserving of 3. And at $4.50 as the third favourite for that game, I'm a massive fan of that.
It's way overs.
Yeah, and with Jack Higgins being in some of the favourites and also Andrew Brayshaw as well in a loss, I'm more than happy to take the player who won the game literally off his own boot.
Well, he took the game by the scruff of the neck, and he was the best player on the ground that day. So I think that $4.50 for what is the best player on the ground, we'll take it 100%.
Completely agree.
All right, we move on to some of our BYO sports bet markets. They've got shitloads, but there is some juice here which we like. Because like we said, there's not much value in this Brownlow, but this is nice.
I normally hate these markets because they put 3 or 4 different markets together, and then there's one that's absolutely no chance of happening, but the other 3 are real good odds. And then that's why people like sort of buy into them and then waste their money on them. But some this year that I've been really liking are the ones that don't have excluding ties in them. So obviously excluding ties would mean your bet would actually lose. But some of the ones I got here, like Callum Mills to win Sydney, multied with Lachie Neale for 25 plus votes, and Zach Merritt for most votes in the last 8 rounds, which he's a $1.30 favourite for. So that's all. That's 3 sub $30 favourites, and you can get that at just over $2 odds.
We like that.
So I absolutely love that bet. I think great value in 3 guys who I really see taking those markets out.
They are all locks.
Yeah,
and you're getting a nice $2 plus odds for it. That's easy done.
Yeah, completely agree. And next we got Clayton Oliver and Christian Petrarca to combine for 35 plus votes by round 14. And you might think, far out, that's a lot. And that's what I thought when I first saw it. But $2.75 for this market. We have on our count them to combine for 38.
Yeah.
And that's quite conservative as well with that count. So we obviously, as the Demons, we won 10 of our first 10 games. And then we went on a bit of a losing streak, but before the bye, we were absolutely dominating on top of the league. And in 10 games with 10 wins, you'd think that Clayton Oliver and Christian Petrarca, 2 of our best players, could combine for more than those 35 votes.
100%. We had him at 38 votes, like you said. That's a 3-vote cushion. We love that. Conservative 3-vote cushion. If we're off by 2, we still win. Love it.
Yeah, and also the last one we got here for BYO Sports Bet markets is Cripper for most 3 votes, which I'm absolutely loving at the moment. Oliver, for most games polled, we've got him sitting around the 17.5 to 18 games that he's polling in. And also Brayshaw to lead after round 5. And the trusty Zach Merritt for the last 8 rounds, most votes. So you'll actually get that one at $9 odds.
That's the juicy one. We like that.
Which is huge. So great value there. All of those players are the favourites to win those markets. Brayshaw, leading after round 5, is the one I'm sort of the most on the edge about. But he's still a $2.20 favourite for that one. So love that.
That's great. They're the best BYO. That's the best of the bunch by far. We move on to the next one, our a tie market. I mean, we've spoken about this off camera plenty of times. The tie should be paying more than it is.
Ridiculous.
I
said about 3 months ago, I'm like, this Brownlow's going to come down to be so tight. I'd love to see what a tie pays. How many ties have there been this century?
Well, we've had, technically 2, if you want to include the Joe Watson one that ended up being 2, but one time was a 3-way tie in 03.
And I thought, because of that, it would pay $60, maybe $70 odds, like that much I thought it would pay. But it came in at about $6. I think it's sitting at $5.50 now. Just ridiculous. How are they not giving any value for that whatsoever? But there is a little bit of value in another one, Cam.
A 3-way tie.
Yeah, I'm liking
that's it. Like we said, that's only happened once in history, I believe, of AFL era anyway. I mean, a tie off the top of my head's only happened the 3 times since 90s.
Wow.
You had Hurd and Voss in the 90s, you had the triple one, and then you had the Cochin one. So a 3-way tie, it's hard. It's extremely hard.
Yeah, and I would normally never pick it.
But we've got some value here, and this is as tight a Brownlow as we've ever seen.
Yeah, and for such a tight Brownlow, it could honestly be a 4-way tie.
Yeah.
But 3-way tie at $41 odds.
That's worth $10, 100%.
It is worth $10. Obviously, gamble responsibly.
Yeah, but put a pineapple on
we
if you
do
want.
love that one.
But I think chuck a tenner on 100%.
Yeah.
That is the value. There is no value in this Brownlow bar. Them ones, the $41 and the $9 BYO we just spoke on.
So we're trying to give you as best we can because they've really stripped it all back this year, Sportsbet, which in a way is fair enough because Brownlow's a very weird sporting event. It's unlike any other because
it's stupidest, really.
You're betting on an event that's already happened.
Yep.
There's nothing from now till tomorrow night that's going to change the Brownlows. So the fact that you're actually betting on something that's already happened with the stats all in front of you is pretty mental. But
it is.
That's probably why they've stripped all the value away from it.
And you're betting on 3 dudes' opinions.
Yeah.
That's it.
Exactly.
3 dudes' opinions. All right, let's move on to who wins this thing. We've got a consensus. We tossed and turned. We've got a consensus. According to our numbers, it's pretty much a dead heat.
Yeah, it is.
But we're going to go with one side of the dead heat for reasons we'll get into.
Yeah.
But we are going with Clayton Oliver to win the Brownlow.
Yeah.
He's the guy.
Second favourite at the moment, $3.75. The favourite being Lachie Neale at $3. Like we said, no value in that, unfortunately. But we actually have Lachie Neale winning on most counts.
Yeah.
But it's by less than half a vote.
It is nothing in it.
So it's going to be extremely close, as we referred to the tie before as well. But we think Clayton Oliver can get it just due to the variance.
Yeah.
So obviously there's a huge variability between polling in so many games for Oliver, which we think 17 or 18 games he's going to poll in. Whereas Neale, a lot of 3 votes, a lot of consensus 3 vote games. But if Clary's able to just nick those like sort of 1 or 2 votes when he really shouldn't be getting any votes, that's how we think he's going to win.
We see Oliver getting these games where he's predicted to get 1, turns into 2.
Yeah. Or he's predicted to get 2, turns into 3. Or you never know. Like last year with Ollie Wine, some games we only predicted him to scrape a vote and he ended up getting best on. So
it happened numerous times. We see that upside with Oliver. We don't see that upside with Neale. With Neale, so many 3s, we see a downside.
Yeah.
He might get stitched up where someone kicked 5 goals, like a Charlie Cameron here gets a 2.
Yeah.
This is a real possibility. I mean, one thing why I fell in love with Oliver earlier in the year, and I put money on him before, was he had 31 votes last year. You're going to win probably 80% of the Brownlows with that type of margin.
Yeah.
He had 8 3-vote games. That is enormous. Yeah. Second most of anyone last year, bar the winner. He gets noticed.
And this year he could really break the record for most games polled in as well.
I think he will.
Just by how good he was consistently throughout the year.
Yeah.
And obviously the Demons still finished second. Great team all the way throughout the year. Only ended up with 1 win more than 6th place Lions with Lachie Neale. So, but yeah, that's who we think is going to win it. Who do you reckon is going to be the top 4, Cam?
Top 4 is going to be, it's probably easy to pick the top 4 than I'd say the winner this year because you've got 3 or you can say 5 real toughies.
Yeah.
But it's just the order that's the hardest part.
Exactly.
But we're going with Clary on top clearly, and then we'll put in Neale in second, just behind him on votes. Cripps, I think, gets third. We spoke about his 3-vote games. That should get him up enough. And then fourth,
who knows?
Some people say Took. We're putting a line through Took. We don't think that. We think Brayshaw or Petrarca, that's the 4th place tie.
Yep.
Around there.
Petrarca had what seemed like a pretty underwhelming year this year, but going back through it, actually might poll really, really well. Mm-hmm. But I think someone like a Brayshaw might be more locked into that fourth spot. As you look at a lot of the Freo games where they've won big, and you look through and you don't know who to give a vote to.
No, that's the issue.
Because there's no real standouts. They played so well as a team together, but we think Brayshaw could get a few of those and definitely finish in that fourth place.
Oh, 100%. And don't be worried when you hear the word Petrarca in fourth and then get worried about Clayton Oliver winning.
Yep.
Last year, Ollie Wines, 36 votes, most of all time. Boak had 25 votes and came fifth.
Yep.
This has been done before. If the whole you need to be a one-man band thing was true, then Gary Ablett would have had 7 in his 7 years at Gold Coast. It's not always the case. Dustin Martin won a Brownlow, and he still had Cochin who won a Brownlow a couple of years earlier. It is not always a one-man band that gets up.
Yeah, you look at Clary last year as well, had 31 votes when Petrarca still had 23, and Gawn had a great year with 16 as well.
Exactly.
Ruckman's
Bontempelli had 33 last year. McRae still had plus 20s.
Yep.
It is not all about being a one-man band, although it seems that way. Yep. So do not be disheartened when you hear Petrarca in the top 5. But that is our episode.
That's it.
I mean, we'll quickly run through it again so you've got everything we like. Dunkley, most votes for Bulldogs. Tom Mitchell, most votes for Hawthorn. Make sure you get that on Sportsbet at $2.70. Everyone else has him sub $2.20. Max King for 3 votes in round 2 at $4.50. And then your BYO bets, you can go back and listen to them. I'm not going to go through them. And we love a 3-way tie.
3-way tie.
At $41. I love those odds.
Probably my favourite value one as well.
100%. All right. Thank you very much for listening.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram.
At Winger Podcast.
Make sure to have a look at us on TikTok as well.
At Winger Podcast.
Make sure to listen to us on Spotify.
At Winger Podcast.
Thank you very much.
Good night.